You are a business. Yes, I'm talking about you. How do I know? Now, whether you're working a 9 to 5 or you're a traditional business owner, you are a business. And what we're going to be looking at in today's video is what the Bible tells us about why you are a business. And we're also going to be looking at the similarities between working a 9 to 5 and being a business owner, and also the limitations in the minds of 9 to 5ers that make them think that they're not business people, right? This is what we're going to be looking at in detail. Join me. Let's go. Now, one of the biggest lies that we tell ourselves is that not everyone who does 9 to 5 has the capacity to do business, right? Well, it's a big fat lie. And the reason it's a big fat lie is because when you look at someone who does a 9 to 5, he goes into the office and he provides solutions to his employer, right? Now, a business owner also provides solutions to various numerous customers. So the major difference one major difference between a 9 to 5er and a business owner is the fact that the number of clients you're servicing varies, right? So as a 9 to 5er, you're servicing majorly your employer, right? You might be, liaising with different groups within the company or even outside of the company, but ultimately, your one major client is your employer, and that is because you're being paid directly by your employer. But a business owner has various multiple clients and has no limitation to the number of clients they can have. So you go into work as a 9 to 5er providing solutions for your employer, right? If you have the capacity to provide solutions for your employer, you also have the capacity to provide solutions for your own company as a business owner. So that there is a major point of difference, right? The number of clients that a 9 to 5 services is mainly one, that's his employer, but the number of clients a business owner services is numerous. Now, moving on to the next point, because we've identified that as a 9 to 5er, your one major client is your employer, your remuneration is fixed every month. That means you know what you're going to be making and it's not going to change. But as a business owner, your remuneration is not capped, right? So it could be high or it could be low, but what you can do to assist you to make sure that your remuneration is not low is by putting in quality goods and service so that you can obviously have repeat custom, right? When you provide quality goods and services, right, that is the best form of advertisement, right? Which brings us also to our next point, which is the value product or service delivery, right? Now, as a business owner, you have the capacity or you have the ability to deliver value to numerous clients locally or globally, right? So, but as a 9 to 5er, your service delivery, even though it's quality, it's just limited to the one client, right? So your value, service, or product delivery is also limited, just like the number of your clients that you have. Now, one of the major lies that we've been told is that 9 to 5ers don't know how to sell. That is a big fat lie, and I'm going to tell you why. Now, when you got that job as a 9 to 5er, before you got that job, you researched for the job, you prepared your resume, you practiced for interviews, you attended those interviews, and you managed to convince your employer that you are the right fit for the job. All of those processes I just mentioned are sales processes, right? Now, it might not sound like the typical sales that a business person does, but you've managed to sell your skills, your talents, your capacities, and your capabilities to your employer and to show your employer why you are the right fit for the job. If you did not sell yourself successfully to your employer would not have hired you, and that is why you are on that job, right? So this is another similarity between a 9 to 5er and a typical business person, right? We've been told that 9 to 5ers don't know how to sell, or we managed to convince ourselves that they really don't know how to persuade people, but you did persuade your employer that you are the right fit for the job. Now, aside from the fact that you sold yourself, you sold your talents to your employer. You also go into the office every day or into the factory every day selling solutions, right? Now, whenever you work on that project or you work on a product development or product management or something of that nature, you're selling solutions to your direct line manager or to your boss, typically your employer, letting them know that this is the right solution for the problem that exists, right? So again, it sounds like, oh, a 9 to 5er is not involved in selling, but we sell every day. And even on a 9 to 5 job, you are selling every day. It might not occur to you, but you are selling every day on a 9 to 5 job, right? So people might say, oh, a 9 to 5er don't have the capacity to sell. Like I said, that is a big fat lie. 9 to 5ers, business people sell every day. And that's another similarity that we can show from this. Now we're going to have a look at a few biblical references regarding why you are a business, right? Now, if we have a look at the parable of the talents, it tells us a story of 3 servants. One, he had 5 talents. He was able to multiply his to 10. The other had 2 talents, was able to multiply his to 4. But the one with just the 1 talent did not multiply his, rather he buried his, right? And he did not make good of what was in his hands. Now, when the master returned, he said, you wicked and lazy servant, to the guy who had just the 1 talent. And he said, at least you would have put that talent or that coin in the bank so that they could gain some interest, right? Now, the guy who had the 1 talent did not do anything because of fear. He was afraid, right, of taking a step, of making a move, right? So it's very important that we know that God wants us not just to have the 1 client, right? There's nothing wrong with having a 9 to 5 job, right? We all learn from doing a 9 to 5, but God wants us to use our 9 to 5 to build our 5 to 9 so that we can serve humanity and have multiple clients, right? He wants us to be able to reach the ends of the earth with the gifts and the talents that he has placed on the inside of us. And the only way we're going to do that is when we have multiple clients. If we remain stuck to the 1 client, we're not going to be able to reach as many, clients as we possibly can. Now, it's beyond making money, right? It's a principle in the parable of the talents. God wants us to reach multiple clients. He wants us to multiply the gifts and the talents on the inside of us. But if we are just stuck with the 1 employer, with the 1 client, then we're not able to reach multiple clients. Now, I'm not saying that we should not work a 9 to 5, right? But, in addition to working the 9 to 5, we should be thinking about how we can reach various clients locally or globally, all over the world, however we can, with the gifts and the talents that he has deposited on the inside of us. It could be in relation to what we do in our 9 to 5, or it could be something that is totally unrelated, right? So there you go, my brothers and sisters. We've been able to show that whether you're working a 9 to 5 or you have a business, you are providing solutions, right? You are selling those solutions on a daily basis. You're providing value proposition in terms of products and services, right? But the major difference is the fact that a 9 to 5er has 1 major client, while a business owner has numerous clients, right? So my brothers and sisters, go out there, get those clients, serve humanity, right? Let's go out there walking 360-degree wealth. Let's multiply our talents, our gifts, everything that God has deposited on the inside of us, right? And I'm going to see you on the next one. You are a business.